you are watching us from. Thank God it's already February, and we are so happy to get into the month of love, and that is what we will look forward to, especially on Valentine's. And this morning, it's all about matters to do with serving you with amazing content, quite informative content that we will be serving you in the next 2 hours as we look at the entire news nationally, county-wise, and what has been making headline. We'll start looking at what is making headline in the different dailies newspapers this morning. And our morning discussion today being on Tuesday, it's all about matters to do with whatever is happening within our education sector. And there is quite another topic that we want to handle when we are talking about all the issues within the education sector here. And this pertains to how things are happening in relation to career goals. And I'll be speaking to one lady that is a student leader and also one who is a career enthusiast. And I'm talking about ROTHO MOHAMMED. She is at Mount Kenya University, aspiring to become the president there. And we will be talking about finding a career path. Now, there has been quite a question concerning whether if going to a university or a college is an investment. And that's why we want to analyze and talk about all the issues that are coming out of it. How can we create and find our own career path, and going forward with the current situation, talking about unemployment issues, what does it mean for those of who want to join universities, and the different challenges that are within the high institutions. So that is what we'll be talking in detail together with my guest, ROTHO MOHAMMED. She'll be joining me in studio here to shed more light concerning those few matters and many more that we would like also to hear from you. If you have any question whatsoever, are you getting up with your career goal as such? Have you already found your path career-wise? Talk to us, give us experience. What are some of the few challenges that you are facing in line of finding out your career path? And what are some of your fears in relation to that as well? You can share your comments, share your feedback on the number below your screen. I do believe you can also catch us live on Facebook. We are up and running. You can see what we are doing, and of course we will be sampling your view as we get along with the discussion that will be coming your way in the second segment of the show, together with my guest, ROTHO MOHAMMED. Now, that conversation will be coming once I'm done by looking at what is making headline in the next 15 minutes or so here, as we try to update you on all the matters and all the national news that we can expect in the different dailies this morning. My name is SHADRACK, OGEGA, and my sign language interpreter is Felix Otieno. And together we are set to update you on all these fine details out from whatever is making headline this morning. And straight into it, we want to start off by looking at what is making headline in the Daily Nation here. I've got the Daily Nation with me, I've got the Standard, I've got the Star, and we'll be looking at what is also making headline in the different newspapers, looking at the current affairs in the country, and what we can expect out from the newsrooms given out in the different dailies. And getting straight into it, I'm looking at what is making headline in the Daily Nation. And on the front page of the Daily Nation, it's all about matters to do with the politics of the day and the preparedness to the general election, and big names on Azimio train. This is the main story given out on the front page of the Daily Nation, and it's quite a strategy according to whatever is enlisted here. And in the spirit of gather all philosophy of principles, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga's coalition line up 13 parties to take on Deputy President William Ruto in August polls, August polls on 9th. And according to this story, it looks at the different political parties, the small political parties are supposed to be joining and in support to the Azimio movement, leader Raila Odinga. And amongst the few that have been enlisted here on the graphical on page 1, we see Raphael Tuju, who is the Jubilee Secretary General. We have NAC leader and Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu. We have Ubuntu People's Forum that is led by Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui. We have DAPK led by Wafula Wamunyinyi. We also have Muungano Party, that is a party led by Makueni Governor Kivuta Kibwana. We also have Kenya United Party, led by West Pokot Governor John Lunyanga Puo. We also have Maendeleo Chapchap, that of Alfred Mutua. We have Pamoja Pan-African Alliance, that is the Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi. And we have a Party of National Unity, that is headed by Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya. So all these parties have come together in a bid to strategize and form a coalition and alliance through the Azimio, so as they can take it up with the Deputy President William Ruto after his newly formation with the NC party together with the Ford Kenya party, that is Moses Wetangula, and his NC party leader, who is Musalia Mudavadi. And that is what is making headline this morning, given out on the front page of the Daily Nation. Ours is to just touch a little bit concerning these matters, and you can check that out and read more of whatever is explained there. Now, on top of the said newspaper, that is the Daily Nation still, there is quite an interview out from whatever was the interview done by the Daily Nation, and they were speaking to Keroche Brewery's CEO Tabitha Karanja, who we saw last week joining the United Democratic Alliance, the UDA, saying she will be vying for Nakuru senatorial race through that ticket. And there is reasons as to why I chose Ruto over Raila. The Keroche Brewery's CEO Tabitha Karanja explains, and that is what is happening on the page 1 on top there, and you can check that out as well on page 4, and you can understand some of the few reasons explained there. On to the right side of the Daily Nation, couples seal their love with padlocks, and this is a story that pertains to quite a matter that a bridge stands to be left of a pond. Here, 8 padlocks have been locked to Brainstain, and most labeled with the names of whom have sealed their lives. And that is a story on page 3. But on education matters, on the back page of the Daily Nation, we are told that technology hitch as pupils take CBC tests. And remember yesterday, like I mentioned yesterday, the grade 4, 5, and 6 over through the CBC began their tests yesterday, but a few technical hitches here and there have been seen to have, tried to affect the tests from going on. But that is what is happening on the front page of the Daily Nation. So those are some of the few articles that's listed on the Daily Nation. You can check them out and read more of whatever is enlisted there to be updated. Now, turning and shifting gears into matters about what is making headline in the Star. Also, we must look at what is making headline this morning, given out in the Star newspaper. And on the front page of the Star, we are talking about matters of politics as well. And Raila battle plan to neutralize Mudavadi. And we are told here that Oparanya says they will hold rallies in Busia on Thursday, Bungoma on Friday. And this is in a bid seen to try and neutralize Mudavadi in his new pact with Deputy President William Ruto. And yesterday we saw the Western leaders trying to discuss the way forward as far as the route at which the Western region is supposed to be taken. And there was that meeting where in attendance were a number of leaders, including Kakamega Governor Oparanya. We also have the Kotu boss, that is Francis Atwoli, was present, and amongst others who were speaking on how the Western region will chart its way forward. And what we can draw out from yesterday's meeting, as enlisted on the front page of the Star and explained on page 4 and 5, is that there will be a series of rallies in Busia and Bungoma, that is on Thursday and Friday respectively, and that will be one of the few moves that can neutralize the Mudavadi and Ruto pact. So you can grab your copy and understand what is happening in relation to that as well. Now, Staying still on matters about the Star newspaper, there is another story here that talks about 10 killed and 13 injured in Mandera terrorist attack. And this is what happened yesterday. And there is that picture showing our men in uniform trying to help out an individual who got himself injured yesterday after 10 passengers perished when a matatu ran over an explosive device that had been placed on the ground. And according to the reports, the 14-seater passenger service vehicle was traveling from Arabia to Mandera before it hit an improvised explosive device, and the attack happened just a few kilometers town of see the pictures there showing how things went, and it's not quite a good scenario. And also, still staying on matters about terrorism, there is this story of the gentleman who was arrested. And we are told here, Kenya terror suspect, I want to go home from Guantanamo. And if I may read what is listed here on page 3 of the Star, is that the only Kenyan held at American military prison at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba now wants to get back into the country. And according to the family of this gentleman, is that they feel for his life, and they are now demanding him to be brought back in the country so as he can face prosecution while inside the country here. And on page 8, matters about the assessments of grade 3 and 5 is that the internet glitches delay CBC grade 3 and 5 assessments. So that is what is happening on page 8 over the Daily Nation, the Standard, sorry. You can grab that to your copy and read more of whatever is explained there, and you can understand some of the few details explained on the different newspaper, particularly in the Star newspaper. Remember, ours is to just touch a little bit concerning the few articles, and it's up to you now to grab your copy, find time, read whatever is enlisted to get updated. Now, looking at what is making headline this morning on the Standard, and on the front page of the Standard, we are told that shock 10 billion fine for corrupt 4. And this is the pain of graft and includes issues within the NSSF. And it has now become painful to steal taxpayers' money after Magistrate Lawrence Mugambi imposed record fines on corrupt NSSF officials, his 3 private sector accomplices, and their firm after they diverted 1.2 billion from pensioners. The trial lasted 12 years, and this story includes that of Francis Moturi, who was an investment manager at NSSF, who has been accused of being involved in the 1.2 billion from fraud, 1.2 billion for fraud. And also, others include Wilfred Weru, who was found guilty, and he was a director of Discount Securities, as well as Isaac Nyakundi, who was an investment manager at Discount, and the 2 gentlemen, and the 4 gentlemen, and the last one being David Githaiga, who was executive director at Discount. So these gentlemen were involved in that case that has been tried for the last 12 years, and yesterday they were found guilty of having been involved in matters about corruption, and they are now been asked to pay huge sum money and also serve jail term. Details concerning this story, you can find that on page 4 of the Standard. You can read more of whatever is explained there and to get updated. And on matters about the attack that happened in Mandera yesterday, on page 7, there's quite an explainer showing you how things happened. And police arrest suspect after implosive device kills 7 minibus passengers and leave 13 others hurt just days after terrorism alerts. And that is what is happening on page 7 of the Standard. You can read more of whatever is explained there to understand. Now, to some national news that is quite of interest also is that relief as NHIF and hospital strike pay deal. And we're told that patients with medical cards can now continue enjoying health services after the public insurance and private hospital agreed to continue with their partnership for another 2 months as they resolve their differences. And this came about after we witnessed private hospitals, trying to protest over what they termed as low pays compared to the public hospitals by the NHIF. And 50.04 billion is the amount at which the NHIF paid to hospitals in 2020 and 2021 financial years. And amongst the 50 billion, we also see that 57 billion is the amount of money that NHIF receives from its members in the same period, and 10.6 million, this is the number of NHIF members in the 2020-2021 financial year, and 1.87 million is the number of times Kenyans have visited hospitals in the year 2020 and 2021, down from 4.7 million in the previous years. So that is what is happening in relation to NHIF. You can read more of whatever is listed there, and you can understand more of those stories. But there is quite a number of articles there, interesting ones. You can grab your copy. Mine is to just look at some of the few details and also give you what we can expect out from the same. Now, let me shift gears inside the pages of the Standard. There's a couple of articles here I want to touch on before we wrap it up here. And on the front page, on page 8 of the Standard, we are told that showdown looms over members' list for crucial House committees. And here we are told that showdown is expected on the floor of the National Assembly this afternoon as rival camps battle over composition of crucial House committees. And the reconstitution of the House Business Committees has since turned out to be a game of numbers between forces backing President Uhuru Kenyatta and the ODM leader Raila Odinga and allies of Deputy President William Ruto. And according to this article, is that the majority leader, Amos Kimunya, will be seeking to reverse vote to reject House Business Committee members. And amongst which also we are told here is that Ruto allies cite lack of consultation and vow to reject the list once again. That is what is playing out on page 8. And also there's another interesting matter here on page 8 on a report that too much English hinders Kenyans from watching television. And we're told here the use of too much English in TV content limits the coverage on matters affecting rural areas and are amongst the reasons Kenyans have been shying away from consuming media content. And the findings by the Media Council and the Media Council through its survey is that the perception of Kenyans about media noted that Kenyans say the use of too much English on TV keeps them off, while others complained of too much political coverage. All right. That is what is happening on page 8. And I don't know, too much English scares away people from watching TV. On page 10, on matters about politics, Mudavadi Wetangula do not speak for Luhya, Western leaders declare. And the Western leaders yesterday were held up at a meeting, and the likes of Kotu Secretary Boss Francis Atwoli, together with Eugene Wamalwa and amongst others, spoke about how they are supposed to chart their way forward as far as the Western region is concerned. And on page 10 as well, we're told about how key seats threaten tiff in Ruto Raila camps. And we're told that clarification by top UDA officials has lifted the lead on a smearing implosion in the Deputy President William Ruto and Raila Odinga's political camps. And according to this story, the two front runners in the presidential contest are toying with the idea of consensus in picking up candidates in some strategic seats which could trigger major fallouts in their camp, and that is what is happening. And there's a picture there showing you the UDA chair, Johnson Muthama, addressing the media on Kenya Kwanza Alliance presidential and power sharing plans at their red office in Gigiri, Nairobi yesterday. And that is what is happening in relation to that as well. You can find time, read whatever is explained, and understand more. On page 12, we're told that pioneer CBC learners begin first national assessment, and that is what is happening. And I believe our news department will look into that, and we will be updating you on the same in relation to that as well. So remember, ours is to just touch a little bit concerning the few matters explained in the dailies today, and it's up to you to grab your copy and read more of whatever is explained to understand, and also begin to know what is happening in the country. And quickly, so before I wrap it up here, I want to remind you of our topic of discussion today, and we want to help those who are looking to get into a career, and we want to understand which is the best way to find a best suiting career for you, and finding a career path is the topic of discussion. We will try and understand how things are happening in relation to a career path, and what are some of the few challenges that are come your way when you are trying to find your career, and many more, including issues of unemployment that are stopping people from getting into the universities and colleges. And the question that we are asking you this morning: do you feel that going and getting into a university and a college is a bad investment? Judging through the amount of unemployment rates that we are having in the country, do you feel going into a university or a college is a bad investment? Talk to us, and my guest will be one lady who understands matters about career, and she will be joining me simply because she, in her capacity as a student leader, she will try and explain more concerning that. And I'll be speaking to ROTHO MOHAMMED, who comes from the Mount Kenya University, and she will be explaining me more, also looking into how she seeks to become the president of that university, and what some of her agendas, including bringing the student leadership at its par, and also championing for the rights and issues of student leaders. So that conversation will be up and running in just a bit after this short break. Remember, it will be also streamed live on Facebook, so you have no reason whatsoever to miss what we are doing this morning. And those of you who are on diaspora, you can check us live also on our www.posttv.co.ke. That is the link that you can follow us, and of course see what we are doing here. And we will love so much also to hear from you on whatever we are doing. Tell us what and where exactly are you watching us from, and do share your thoughts concerning our topic of discussion, that is finding your career path, and we will sample your views as we get along with the discussion. But right now though, I want to take a quick breather. When I come back, I'll be delving deeper into our morning discussion. Don't go too far.